Hello, beautiful souls. We are here for live readings. We did have a little sound issue with the last one, but we are here live and I'm ready to read your chart. So, for those of you who know how this works, you know the drill. You can click the link, which I'm about to put. Okay, I'm about to put it in the description here. And then we can get into our actual readings. And bear with me for just a couple moments while I kind of get everything situated for the live here. And let me know while we're hanging out. Let me know how the full moon in Scorpio is going for you. I didn't really notice it too much, like there wasn't anything going on where I was like, oh, it's a full moon, right? And so to me, that's like probably a positive sign. Okay, so I'm just getting everything situated and then I need to test our sound to make sure it's good. And if you're here jumping on, say hello. I have an exciting announcement and then we're going to do some live readings for whoever decides to come and want to do some. I did this one a little later. Usually I'm starting a little bit earlier. So I thought this would appeal to certain people. Maybe certain people in the US who, it's a little later. You're home now. And then maybe even some of my people over, I'm not sure what time it is in the UK, but it's like some of them might be waking up. Okay, what am I doing? I'm putting the link in the chat. So for anyone who doesn't know how this works, I put the link in the chat, and then whoever books first gets to be first. There's a few different types of readings you can do. So the chart on the screen right now, this could be your chart that I could be reading, and you can choose between different types of readings. You can choose natal, transits, or lunar return. So if you want to know about yourself and what makes you tick, pick natal. If you want to know about what the planets are doing to you, pick transits. And if you want to know about the energy, the unique monthly energy and the emotional themes that you're under the influence of, pick lunar return. The lunar return is special because it's like your own personal full and new moon every month. Not really a full and new moon. It's your own personal lunar cycle every month that tells us about lunar things and in general your life. So people tend to know about the Saturn return and the solar return, but every planet returns, but depending on how fast they move, that's going to determine how short or long that return is. So a Saturn return is like 28 years. A lunar return is like 28 days. So it's much more temporary, but sometimes those temporary dynamics are the ones we are really feeling. And so even knowing when those dynamics are going to end, when the slow energy is going to end and it's going to speed up a little bit, those kind of things sometimes we can see a bit in the lunar return. All right. So like I said, we are doing live readings. You can use the link in the description to book. And is it pinned to the top? Yes, it is pinned to the top. Now I have an exciting announcement I'm going to announce while people book to let you know about something else cool that you can buy, which is a new course. And I'm going to show it to you. So this one's really exciting. Let me find it here. Okay, so here it is. Planetary pairs. Let's get it right here. Yes. Okay, so we have planetary pairs. This is a 2 hour and 40-minute video. that tells you about the inner dynamics of planets. Now, this is not going to be every single aspect. That's why it's called planetary pairs and not like aspects. But it's going to tell you about the relationship between the planets from Sun to Pluto and what they mean. So, why this matters is because when planets form aspects to each other, they don't just form the aspect. Okay, it's not just, and this is what people think. Okay, and this is kind of like the old way of reading your chart is to look up, oh, Venus square the moon means this. And then to think that that means something about how you experience emotions or whatever it says about you. That's the old way. That's the way people who don't understand astrology very well do it. The new way, the good way, the better way, that doesn't give you the quick fix, but actually helps you connect in with the archetypes and the energies that play in your chart, is to understand why those planets have that interaction. Why is Mars aspecting the sun better than Saturn aspecting the moon? Well, because Mars and the sun agree and Saturn and the moon really don't agree. So in this course, I'm going through every single planetary combination from the sun to Pluto. So that means I'll talk about Sun Mercury, Sun Mars, Sun Venus, Sun Neptune, and then do all the planets, Moon Mars, Moon Venus, Moon Neptune, Moon Pluto. And that's why it's 2 hours and 40 minutes, because it's a lot. But this helps you go beyond just square is bad, trine is good. Okay, so this is for you if you want to move beyond that, if you want to explore the deeper psychological and energetic story of your chart. Maybe you already know a little bit about your aspects. This can help you, gives you like layers of understanding you can add to what you already know. And the thing is, this one isn't going to tell you which aspects are in your chart. It's going to assume you already know that. So you already know you have a conjunction or a trine or a square or an opposition. Okay, so that is that. And you can get it now. I'm actually going to put the link in the chat as well for that. Okay, so that is that. And now we have our live readings. Let's see if anyone has booked. If you're here and you're like, I don't want to do a reading, you can hang out and just chit chat with us and see what happens. And if you booked, let me know in the comments so I know to look for your booking. All right, so the bookings are open, which means whoever books first will be first. And I'd love to know how you guys are doing with the Scorpio moon while we kind of chit chat and people jump on. How is everyone feeling? We have, this is the transits right now. You can see the moon is right now at 27, which means it was full. Let me see what time. Earlier today. Like noon, 11:30-ish, was the full moon with a Uranus aspect. So that Uranus aspect can bring some feelings of instability or a change. And, full moon at Scorpio is like, the thing is that it'll be different every time. But, full moons, this is one of the things people say that are totally wrong. They'll say that a full moon is a ending. That's wrong. It's just pop astrology trying to simplify something that isn't that simple. Okay, so a full moon is not an ending. A new moon is not a new beginning. It's like I think of a wave. Okay, think of the moment that the wave is as big as it's going to get. It's at its crescendo. That's the full moon. It's the culmination. It's the peak. It's the climax. Okay, the full moon is the climax. The new moon is the space between. So, like when the wave washes up to the shore and there's that moment. Oh, shoot. That's my phone timer. I have to go get that because it's going to go off for like ever. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. Here we are. We're settled and we're ready. Okay, so what we're doing is live readings. And let me see. The bookings are open. It's going to be a shorter one. So if you're wanting to book tonight a live reading, you need to get in the line. All right. So I was chit-chatting about the full moon. I was going on a ramble actually about how the whole pop astrology idea of the new moon is a new beginning and the full moon is an ending is incorrect, because the new moon is the new beginning. The full moon is the climax or the crescendo. And then the new moon is when it gets like quieted down again and ready for the next wave. So I think of the cycle as almost like a wave, because waves are always in flow. There's no true start to it and end to it because it's always in motion. But also, there is a big crescendo, and that crescendo, that full moon, is not an ending. It's like the biggest point of it. And if you even think of like a song where it will get quiet and then there'll be a big part, of the song, that's the full moon. It's the big part of the song. So we wouldn't call that an ending, would we? We would be like, that's where it gets good. That's where we're like really in it. So that is my rant on full and new moons and how pop astrology makes them seem different than they are. But I mean, it's one of those things when you try to simplify something that is complex, it's bound to be not totally, capture the essence of a thing. And I think that happens in astrology a lot. All right, so let's see. Mark is saying, I'm trying to understand these different formats of astrology. Maybe I should be more focused on my own reactions with more sensitivity. Which formats? Are you talking about like house system formats or something else? All right. So for everyone jumping on, we are doing live readings tonight. I wanted to come here a little bit later for some of you guys who I know this time will work better for, and offer live readings. This will be a shorter one, so if you want to get in, make sure you get in soon. I won't be able to stay quite as long as normal, but I'm still here. So the way that this works is you can book a reading using the link in the comments. There's a link that's pinned there where you can access the link, and that takes you to the booking page. And at that booking page, you can choose between 5 different types of readings. Okay, so there's natal, transits, lunar return, best part of your chart or worst part of your chart. You have those options. Now, if you want to know the most popular, that's going to be transits. Transits are the most popular. Everyone wants to know what the planets are doing to them right now. And when you get a transit report from me, it's going to be whatever the most significant transit is for you right now. So that's one of the benefits of it, is that instead of just having a list from like an app of all the different energies affecting you, you're going to get the first, most significant, most important one first, which is probably whichever outer planet is hitting you right now. If there's no outer planet hitting you, I'm going to prioritize it all based on what's most significant in our lives, based on what I know about transits and how they affect people and which ones you're going to feel more. So that's just all done for you. And it's fun. Okay, yeah, house systems. House systems are a biatch. Nobody, I mean, I think it's a shame that with house systems, we have to choose before we're ready. You know, when we're learning astrology, it's like in order to go further, you get to a point where you have to pick a house system, and at that point, you are not prepared for that. You do not have the information you would need to make that decision. So, I always say just pick one. You can figure it out later. As you study, you'll start to get a feel for it and you'll know. And you know, to be honest, a lot of people choose Placidus, but why do they choose Placidus? Because that is the default in astro.com. So people just go with it because it's the default. I'm not saying it's bad for that reason, but that's, one of the reasons. I also think, Placidus you relate to on a psychological level a lot more. But whole sign does a better job, in my opinion, so far, of if you're trying to predict what's going to happen. And so a lot of times people, when you're coming to an astrologer, you want to know more than just how the transit's going to feel. Like you're going to be really happy this summer would not be a good reading. But you're going to have a lot of friends, or you have more potential to make friends or to have support this summer. That's a better prediction. So that's my take on that. Okay, so back to what we're doing. Thank you, Mark, for chit-chatting. We're doing live readings. There is a link at the top of the chat where you can book. And if you do, let me know so that I can pull up your chart and we can do it. And that is what we are up to. So yeah, if you do like a transit reading, you're going to get this chart that you see on the screen, except this is going to be on the outside of your own chart. So we can see, like right now, Venus is at 8 degrees of Aries. Whoops, maybe it's not. Yeah, it is. Okay, so this is right now. And we can see, do you have any planets that this lovely Venus in Aries makes an aspect to? Maybe, maybe not. Do you have any planets at 29 degrees in the mutable signs? Then Saturn's aspecting them. That's really important. And so on and so on. So we can see what these planets are doing to you. Yeah, that's what I'm used to. I started with Placidus, Mark. I started with Placidus. And then when I changed to whole sign, all my clients didn't like it. For the most part, a lot of my clients don't like it because you guys like Placidus. And that's the thing, is that like if I read in Placidus, I'm not going to get the transits right. And I want to get the transits right. So, but if you're reading, especially if you're reading for yourself, you're not doing predictive astrology, you're looking more at the psychological stuff. Sometimes Placidus is a lot more accurate for how you feel. Okay. How's everyone doing with the Scorpio full moon that was today around 11:30 p.m. Pacific time? I mean AM. So like lunchtime here. I didn't even notice it, which is great because that means it wasn't bad. Wait. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I was trying to do this. There we go. There we go. Okay, so back to the most popular reading that I do on these is transits. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about what a transit report might tell you, what a transit reading might tell you. Oh, I better get my timer up. Do that too. Okay, and then yes. So yeah, for transits, we're looking at the sun is going to highlight something. Now, I may or may not bring this up depending on what it touches in your chart. Mercury is going to speed things up. Mercury and Mars are going to speed things up. Jupiter will make things better, even if they're bad already. This is the problem with Jupiter is sometimes the thing Jupiter makes better is something that sucked so bad. The only thing that makes it better is the thing ends. So my example for this is I have had several clients who, when Jupiter went through their seventh house, when we think of Jupiter in the seventh, we think of new love, we think of growth in relationship, we think of happiness, we think it's going to make it better. Right? But the thing is that if you are in a bad relationship, you're married and it's horrible, Jupiter might not be able to fix that. So I have seen people, when Jupiter goes through their seventh, they get divorced. And this is not toxic positivity, but those people will say, yeah, that was the best thing that could have happened. Jupiter made it better. It really already kind of sucked pretty bad. So that's the thing about Jupiter making whatever it is better, is that we have to have a frame of reference for what it is making better. And sometimes we have to look for the positive. Sometimes we really do. Okay, so then that's what you're used to since 1975, Mark, is Placidus. That's great. That's cool. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Okay, what was I going to say? Okay, so then Mars is going to speed the thing up. So whatever house Mars is in, you're going to be busy in that area. So if this was a person's chart, they're busy studying or learning something or going on a quest or traveling or, learning something, going to college, in a court case. It's Mars, so maybe they're defending their beliefs. Okay, so Mars is going to speed that thing up. Venus will make it nicer. And when Venus and Mars are in aspect like they are now, this is a very nice trine. So if you did a transit reading, we could talk about what this Mars-Venus trine in how many days? On the 18th, actually technically the 19th, is going to do for you. What is it going to speed up and magnetize? It's going to totally depend on a bunch of different stuff in your chart. This might be a relationship transit for some. It might be a work transit for other people. It could be totally different areas of life. It might be more of a spiritual, psychological transit for some people. So it could be any of those things. All right, so I know some new people are jumping on. So for those of you jumping on, we are doing live readings. I will be here a few more minutes. So if anybody wants a reading, you can get in now. The bookings are open, which means that whoever books first will be first. And we can talk about this 19th, what's going to happen with this Mars-Venus trine. I mean, it's not a Jupiter Venus trine, but it's still a nice, I think it's a nice aspect because Mars and Venus together, Mars without Venus is kind of a jerk. Mars with Venus is flirtation. It's the attraction and repulsion, the magnetic energy of flirtation where you have to have like Mars kind of creates the desire. If it's just Venus, Venus is just like laying by herself eating grapes, not doing shit. Mars needs to be there to like stimulate her and like, get it to be like something going on actually, cuz Venus doesn't by herself like, I mean, Venus is nice, but Mars just adds the perfect, it's the masculine and feminine, you guys. But that thing in your chart that gets magnetized by this transit could be not love at all, right? It could be your spiritual path, could be your psychological studies. It could be a money transit. It can be a work transit. It can be something with your siblings or your family. It's going to be different for everyone. Okay, so yeah, I'm just going to hang out for a minute while somebody books. There are now 5 options to book. There's natal, transit, lunar return, best part of your chart, and worst part of your chart. So anybody who books in the next 4 minutes will get their reading tonight. I have a time limit of how late I can be doing this. Oh, wait. Oh, hold on. I think maybe I didn't do it right. Okay, I did it wrong. So, if you're here and you tried to book and the link didn't work, it is now working. Yeah, and you can book. Also, I should tell you guys this actually. My schedule's changing majorly. So this week is the last week that I'll be doing live readings like this. I might do one once a month after this, like on a very, very rare occasion. But I will not be able to do these like this anymore. So if that also factors in your decision, I'm going to try to do one more, maybe 2 more this week. Probably 2 more. Oh, Rebecca, let's see what Rebecca's saying. I didn't really understand house systems till I did a live reading with you and saw everything was in different places. So far, I've been kind of blown away by the whole house interpretation. Yeah, well, and I think that like Placidus is still good too, So I don't think Placidus is bad. The only thing about Placidus for me is sometimes it's more psychological, right? So when we're talking about how it feels to be you, Placidus is gonna nail it. And if I'm like, let's say I was doing reading about what Neptune means in a house, I'm going to look at both my Placidus and whole sign. For some people, they're the same. But for some people, they'll be different. I'm going to look at both of those because they're both going to tell me something that's true. It's just that if I'm looking at the transit to Neptune in that house, let's say Jupiter's hitting Neptune, this is where, I really, 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 really think that whole sign kind of rocks. And I'm going to show you an example from my life from a long time ago. And we're going to be out of time for the lives, but you guys can just stay tuned and catch the next one for as far as live readings go. Yeah, I'm going to show you this and then I'm going to get off of here. And I'm going to delete this video too, because nobody booked and they're not really that good for the channel. Okay, we're thinking 2000. I was so young. I am so old now. Okay. Let's see. When was this? Yeah, we're going to go months. Let me see. Does this actually line up right? I think it does. Yeah. So once upon a time, I went to treatment. I went to treatment in December. Actually, no. See, this is the wrong year. It has to be a year later. Now that it's going to be wrong. Let me think about this because I remember going through this and being like blown away, but maybe it just was a little bit after. Okay, so look, Uranus is hitting my Jupiter. Okay, Jupiter in the 6th house. It's 2 degrees away, which is still an aspect. And what happened the month after this? In December, this is when I went to treatment. Why is that such a crazy aspect? Because Jupiter rules the 4th house of home. And Uranus represents change. So not only does it mean, and like the 6th house, which most people don't know, represents problems and like fixing those problems and what you have to do to fix the problems. So 4th house ruler in the 6th is family or home gets changed to solve a problem. Like it couldn't be more exact and accurate. Okay, so this is why, even though now that I'm saying this out loud, it doesn't seem such a big deal, but when it's your life and it's your chart and you see the exact thing happen, it's like, whoa. But in Placidus, it doesn't have the same, it doesn't do that. So the thing about why, and I'm not trying to say like you have to do whole signs if you don't want to. But the thing about the reason whole signs, like in order for whole signs to work for you, I think you have to know the traditional meaning of the houses and the signs and the planets. And that's a lot to be able to know and understand. And it wasn't until I really, really, really studied this stuff hard before I started getting it. And I'm not saying you're not getting it or anything, but if you don't want to do that, if you don't want to learn the traditional meanings, the Hellenistic meanings of the houses and sect and, all of that technical dry stuff, then Placidus is pretty good. Placidus is pretty good. And that's my opinion. My opinion is that you have to know a lot of astrology to do whole sign well. So hopefully that doesn't hurt anyone's feelings. But you guys know me, I don't care. I do, but I just don't. Not enough. Okay, so I'm going to announce a new course that I put out that is available that you can actually get as of right now. And then I'm going to go and then I'm going to delete this video because we didn't get a booking. For those of you who are like, what happened? Let me see. Yeah, I'm going to show you guys this new course I just put out because I think it's cool. I just have to grab it. Here we go. It's called Planetary Pairs. And it is actually an excerpt from a bigger course that I did on teaching people how to read their aspects, but not from the standpoint of like this aspect means this. It's more about teaching you the steps to take to understand the aspects in your chart. And so this was week 2 of this one. So if you do buy this, it's gonna be like, welcome to week 2. You just ignore that part. But it's over 2 hours and it's a video on aspects from the sun to Pluto. So keep in mind though, it's talking about the planetary pairs. So it's the relationship between the planets. What do the sun and Pluto have in common? Where do they agree? Where do they disagree? So it's getting into the why of why the planetary aspects are good or bad. It tells you a bit about what each combination means, but it doesn't break them up into aspects. So it's just Sun Pluto. So if you have a square, conjunction, trine, sextile, you're still Sun Pluto. And that's still going to carry all of that like archetypal energy, all of that like energetic tension or energetic challenge or energetic possibility, whatever it has, regardless of the aspect. Okay, so it tells you all the pairs from the sun to Pluto. So that means the sun, moon, sun, Mercury, sun, Venus, sun, Mars, sun, Neptune, and then I go through all of them. So yeah, this is for you if you want to go past like trines are good and squares are bad. And if you want to know more of the deeper like psychological or energetic energy of the different planetary combinations, including whether the planets agree or not and what they agree on. And it's going to be ideal if you already know your aspects because it doesn't teach you how to find them. It just tells you about the pairs. That's it. Okay, so that is available. There is a link in the chat for that if you want to grab it. And Cody's saying like the sun opposite Neptune in my chart. Yeah, exactly. What does Mark say? Oh, okay. Rebecca's saying me too, Mark. Today was a really good day. We had the full moon in Scorpio, so I asked everyone how the day was. I felt like it was fine too. It was good. Something a little bit good happened. And that was what happened. That's okay. Don't worry. You know what I mean? Like, if you're like that, then I'm not trying to pressure you. It just is one of those things that helps me be able to do the channel for the people who can, the people who have $27, if you don't, then I'm not even worried about it. But if you do, I think this is worth it. I think this one's worth it. I think it has a lot in it that, the thing about astrology too is like, we don't always know what thing in what course is gonna like give us that aha moment. So sometimes it's better to go into it, I think. Whereas, you can ask tarot a very specific question and it will tell you a very specific answer. If you have a good reader or you're a good reader, astrology, sometimes I found that the path of self-discovery through astrology is a little bit better when you don't try to make it tell you a certain thing, right? So like if I'm like, I need to know about money. I mean, I do have a $7 course on money. You can learn about money, but it's not like that astrology chart is going to tell you your specific path to making the most money you can. Like I mean, sure, you can go to someone who studies markets and studies the transits of like when good money's going to come. But like the thing is, if you're looking for like a breakthrough, I don't feel like astrology is always the best tool by itself to create a breakthrough. It's more, I think, and you guys let me know what you think. I think it's more of a better tool to understand yourself so that you know who you are. And when you know who you are, you can work with what you've got. You know, because sometimes we have these great aspects in our chart that we totally take for granted because we don't know what it would be like to live without it. But sometimes and I know a lot of my clients do this because I do this sometimes. And that sometimes I only see the problems in the chart. I'm like, oh, my Saturn, you know. But it's like, it's good to kind of use astrology to kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but like dissolve some of that when it comes to like, okay, maybe you have a challenging aspect in your chart, but maybe by understanding that challenge, you can actually release the need to keep understanding that challenge, right? Sometimes we learn things that it's like, oh, wherever you have Saturn, you're going to be able, it can open up later in life. And that can help because by knowing that, you can actually be more hopeful, right? Because if you're like in your 30s or something, like you have something good to look forward to in the area where Saturn is, where like it doesn't always have to go poorly for you. It opens up over time. The older you get, the better your Saturn is. Usually because you are an adult now. And when you are an adult, uh, the patience comes usually. Most of us who mature as we get older, you know, I'm just joking about that, but really, as we mature, the not being able to go out and play, you know, is like, okay, I got to do my work first. It doesn't feel like such a bad punishment anymore. Okay, so I'm totally rambling. But the point is, you can get this video. It's available now. It's like 2 hours and 40 minutes, and it's part of a bigger course that is about kind of teaching you the higher level information about understanding aspects. So I'm going to stop there. I will do 1 or 2 more lives this week. And then next week my schedule will change. I will probably not be able to do, definitely not the live readings. Okay, so then Rebecca's saying astrology helps me accept and move past the crap instead of getting stuck reacting. Yeah, that makes sense. Ah, yes, Cody. Very good point. He's saying my Saturn transit we talked about brought a long overdue reward for me after years of torture. That is something that I think is not talked about enough, is that Saturn can bring rewards. It's not going to be every Saturn transit, but I especially see this for people with their second Saturn return. So they're in like the 50-ish age range. This is where I've seen people make a shitload of money. You know, people who've worked for years at their job will make a shitload of money. Doesn't mean you're going to. I'm not promising that. But the thing is, we have that first Saturn return when we're like 28 to 30. And it's what we do from that point, from the beginning of that cycle, the seeds we plant then that we water and nurture until we're about 50. It's like, that's a whole cycle of work and accomplishment. No, that's not Cody's situation. But yeah, Saturn squares don't usually bring rewards. I'm glad that yours is, but oftentimes the example I like to use for the Saturn square for celebrities is actually Britney Spears, because the Saturn square was when she was stuck in the conservatorship doing all the legal stuff going through the court. And then when Saturn trined her natal Saturn, that was when her book was published. So I like that example because it's like sometimes it's like you're overcoming the thing in the square, and then the trine you might get a reward. It just kind of depends. But yeah, putting in the work is essential with Saturn. Okay, so I am going to go now. And like I said, I will be doing another live video, maybe one or two this week for readings. So if you want to get a live reading, this is going to be your last chance for a long time. I'm not sure if I'll be able to do them. If I am, they'll be very, very infrequent. So if you're someone who really likes those, make sure you pay attention to the videos I do this week because there are going to be at least two more where you can get your fill, get some live readings before that happens. Okay, well, I hope you have a wonderful evening. I'm glad everyone is feeling good under this Scorpio full moon that happened today. I'm glad so many of you had good days, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.